What's up, everybody? Welcome into Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast. Hey, we have a fun one today. I know that you probably drafted out. We tried to come up with a couple of different angles. First, we're going to speak to Dan Duggan from The Athletic. What does Dan Duggan do? Well, first of all, he's from Massachusetts. He's a Quincy guy, and he covers the Giants. So what we're trying to do is probe Dan to figure out whether or not the Giants are going to be useful idiots in this draft and help the Patriots out by passing on either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter if either of them are there. Go ahead, have your Shedeur Sanders. Any shot of that? We'll get to the bottom of that. And then after that, we're going to talk to a melange of Patriots media members. I buttonholed them after Mike Vrabel's availability earlier this week and said, just tell me simply, what will the Patriots do at number 4? What should they do at number 4? A lot of people are going chalk. I'll tell you that right now. But there's some fun and interesting ideas for what they should do. So bring in Dan in just a second. Ladies and gentlemen, as advertised, here he is, Dan Duggan from The Athletic. He's covering the Giants. How long have you been doing this now with the Giants?
2016. Like, you kind of aging dog years on this beat, but yeah, it's been a while now.
You didn't see any of the glory years at all, did you? You've seen nothing in terms of glory years there.
No, I think they have like the third worst record in the NFL since I came on the beat. And I came in McAdoo's first year when they won 11 games, went to the playoffs. I was like, okay, all right, this is going to be the Giants organization I thought I was joining on. And then, yeah, it's kind of been all downhill from there.
Well, it's interesting because from the outside looking in, and you guys have done a terrific job covering it from close up, but I'm stunned that they still have the same brain trust intact after watching what happened last year, following what happened in 2023, and especially with the owner kind of almost interceding, John Mara, and telling Joe Schoen, don't make me hate you for trading Saquon, or excuse me, not signing Saquon. They did survive, however. So the failure to retain him seemed like a hanging offense. They did not get hung. If you screw up the third overall pick, though, it's over. So what are they going to do?
Well, it's so layered there because John Mara had a lot to say after the season ended. You know, it was like the least enthusiastic announcement these guys are going to be back, because he basically said, yeah, if in a year from now I'm not feeling any better, then you can kind of fill in the blank what will happen to them. But he did give them kind of one last shot at it here. But he also said they got to get a quarterback for the future. So it's like, you got to win now and you need to get a quarterback for the future. So you're sitting there at the third pick. You can try and force the quarterback pick and say, hey, we at least check the box of trying to get the quarterback of the future. But that guy, A, is not going to start out of the gates because you went out and got Russell Wilson, you got Jameis Winston. So that was obviously a sign that you're trying to put the best product on the field in 2025. So then that obviously kind of leads you to the, whoever's left out of Carter and Hunter, whoever Cleveland doesn't take it to, because you say that guy's going to help us potentially win games, save our jobs. But the quarterback of the future thing still hangs over everything, because obviously Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston don't solve that problem. So I think early in the process, it felt like they were all over Shedeur Sanders. They went to, they had season passes to Colorado games. They're there all the time. You felt like that's who they're going to go with. And then as this process has gone along, it just does not feel like anyone feels like that would be a good pick at 3. It seems like they've cooled on him. So now as we sit here today, a week out from the draft, I think they're going to take Hunter or Carter, whoever Cleveland passes on. And then they'll, this doesn't really pertain to the Patriots sitting at 4, because then they'll figure out, some trade back up into the back half of the first round, whatever it may be, to get that next tier of quarterback. It might even be Shedeur if he slides as much as some people project. But I think if you're sitting there at 3 as a Patriots fan saying, take Shedeur, take Jackson Dart, take whoever, so Hunter or Carter fall to us, I think that door is, I can't say it's closed because it's a draft, anything can happen, but I think it's only open by a crack at this point, whereas I think early in the process, Patriots fans saying, beautiful, 2 quarterbacks going in the top 3, we're going to get one of these stud position players. I don't think that's the case anymore.
I've said and theorized that, hey, the best way for a brain trust and a head coach to buy time is to draft a quarterback and say, you got to give us time. You got to give us 2 or 3 years with this guy. We don't know what he's going to be. But I think that the sand is already out of their hourglass a little bit.
That's the trouble. If it was a year 2 or something, you could say that, like, listen, we got to get this guy in here. We're going to almost redshirt him and hopefully show some signs. And then we have year 3, year 4. They're in year 4, and it's the arrow's pointing in the wrong direction. They had the surprise success in 2022, and then it went 6 wins, 3 wins. So obviously they got to get that turned around quickly. So yeah, taking a quarterback at 3 who might be a reach, they're not going to have that same level of leash you might have if you were early in your tenure. So that's why I think they're going to try and split the difference. Like, let's go get Abdul Carter, have a great pass rush. Hopefully that gets us to 9 wins, whatever it is. And that quarterback that we took at 24 after trading back up, if we can get him a spot start late in the season or, whatever, in
Hmm.
practice, we can sell that he's developing. Now it's like, okay, we won 8 or 9 games, but we also have this guy who, Jalen Milrow is going to develop, and we're going to have the Josh Allen blueprint, and you can sell that. And that's all you're really trying to do. It's like a sales job because no one thinks they're going to win 11, 12 games and make a run in the playoffs. They just need to show some progress, and also that quarterback part is, hanging out there. They can't just punt on quarterback this year. That's an impossibility after the owner said the number one priority was, getting a quarterback of the future.
And the Daniel Jones experience has to leave Mara a little dented. I mean, there were days that you could look at Daniel Jones and say, all right, maybe he's going to improve to a level. But I remember watching in 2021, which would have been Jones's second year when
Third
they
year.
had when they had the joint practices here. And I think you would agree, Mac Jones totally outplayed Daniel Jones as a rookie. Now that was a Joe, what the hell's his name?
Joe Judge?
Thank you. It was a Joe Judge year there for the Giants, and Joe was not on a hot streak, to put it mildly, at that point. But to know that you spent all that money on Daniel Jones and he just is so despairingly average, you're going to look at Shedeur Sanders and say, we're trying to fit a guy who does not have one elite skill. Am I wrong? I mean, I've not spent a lot of time on Shedeur
No,
Sanders. When I
and
watched
that's
him, his first instinct is to run backwards, and he's not fast enough to escape.
right. And that was the problem with the Shedeur thing. It was kind of getting a deja vu feeling where in 2019, Eli was on his last legs. They knew they had to get a quarterback. It just happened to be a year where there wasn't a strong quarterback class. Kyler Murray were number one. They're sitting there at pick six. And it's like the guy from Duke with like a 500 career record. He kind of looked like Eli and talked like Eli, and that was enough to sell them on it. I mean, again, that was just a bad quarterback class. They forced it. Now listen, you can force it, get it wrong. It doesn't have to be a 6 year mistake, which is really where the Giants went way wrong with Daniel Jones. They just really wanted that to be a thing, and obviously they got a glimmer of it in 2022 and paid him, and so that is, so far beyond. Even if you mess it up, it should be a 2, 3 year mistake. You mentioned Mac Jones. I mean, the Patriots have moved on. You don't have to marry a guy for 6 years. But it felt like they were going down that same path. Different regime, as you said. Joe Judge, Dave Gettleman, long gone. But it's like we need a quarterback. Well, there isn't a quarterback worth taking at number three. And you have Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, who are guys who, I think unanimously are viewed as like these are top three prospects in any draft. So to pass on one of them to force a quarterback, it would feel very much like 2019 when they made that mistake with Jones. Again, that's why I think they're going to split the difference here. Get the stud at number three. And listen, if we have to deal a third round pick, a 2026 mid round pick, whatever it may be, they can still say, hey, we got a quarterback late first round. I mean, maybe someone gets him at 34, which I think is unlikely. And they can say, hey, we have a guy for the future, but I don't think they're going to make the same mistake of just forcing it, saying Shedeur Sanders at three, and just let's hope and pray it works out better than Daniel Jones.
Here's a couple other little things that could fall into place. If it's Abdul Carter, we have speculated up here that having Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns, one very promising, one with a massive contract, might dissuade them from taking Carter if he's the one who's there at three. What's your sense on that?
I would say if they were picking second, I think they'd probably take Hunter. But it's one of these things where it's like they can't screw this up in a way because the decision's taken out of their hands. I mean, I think everyone assumes Cleveland is not going to take Shedeur. So if they take Hunter and you're left with Carter, I don't think they're going to try and reinvent the wheel here and say, oh, well, let's do something crazy. He's still a stud, premium position. I think he's like 21 years old. So you're going to have him on a, relatively cheapish contract for the next couple of years. And then you make a decision on Kayvon Thibodeau. His fifth year option is due right after the draft. But even you exercise that, what's that? 16 million. Obviously Burns is making a ton. You still have a pretty cheap number three edge rusher in Abdul Carter, who a guy you think will be more than number three edge rusher. Obviously, you think he'd be better than Kayvon Thibodeau. And then you can trade Kayvon next offseason if he has a good year. Or you can figure that out. Good problem to have. I think that would fall under a team that doesn't have a ton of premium talent. And the Giants love nothing more than to harken back to their past. And they'll bring up the Patriots Super Bowls. So it was, OC and Tuck and JPP and Strahan. Like they love referencing what was successful in the past. You want to go back to LT, like it's always pass rush, can never have too many pass rushes. So I don't think this is an organization that's like, ooh, I don't know, three good pass rushes. That might be
Sure.
tough for us to juggle. I mean, and it might be because they're all edge rushers. None of these guys is going to be Justin Tuck, who's going to go in and play three technique on third downs. But again, premium talent, you're picking third. I don't think they're going to get too cute here and pass on him or do anything wild. I think they would just take him, and good problem to figure out in the next year or two.
Do you have any instinct on what Cleveland's going to do?
I thought it would sound like they were going Carter all along, and then all of a sudden it seems like it's flipped now. Now everyone's saying Hunter, and these GM press conferences a week before the draft, tough to read into, but it seemed like their GM Andrew Berry was really gushing, about Hunter, how he could be such a unicorn and everything. So again, I think you look at their roster, you bring Myles Garrett back and put another young stud edge rusher, like that makes a lot of sense to me. But again, Hunter is just like he breaks the mold. I don't know.
Yeah.
People compare him to like the best corners in the league and the best receivers in the league. So I don't know, if you're saying he's just one of those two things, it'd be easier to evaluate. But like, I mean, for instance, the Browns are talking about him as a wide receiver primarily. I think more teams look at him as a corner primarily. So it's just so hard to get a handle on, what his value is. But it does seem like they're going that way. Again, this is me, however many miles away you are, I'm not much closer. And that's just my sense is it feels like it's Hunter for Cleveland at this point.
Well, we're paying attention to the Giants. You're probably paying attention to the Browns.
Exactly.
So like you're more up on the Browns than I am. But I wonder, is there any, this might be stupid, but would there be any merit for the Patriots trying to trade up with the Giants if Carter or Hunter are staying there?
I would say this, if the Giants were going to take Shedeur, I think they'd be very smart to try and trade with the Patriots because, the Patriots aren't trading up to take him. So if you're saying, hey, you know what, forget that other scenario I painted about that's tricky trading back in. So if you say, hey, we're going to take Shedeur, let's trade back one pick. Maybe we pick up a third round pick, whatever the value that would be. I would see them doing that. If they're going to trade back, I don't know, what the value be, from 3 to 4.
I know.
And it does seem like the drop off is significant from Hunter and Carter. It's not one of these years where, like, even last year, the Giants got Neighbors at 6th. I mean, if you could have moved back a few spots and still got Malik Neighbors or just trade back to 5 and got Joe Alt, it seems like it's a cliff. It's like Cam Ward's going number 1, then it's Hunter and Carter, and then it's a huge drop. So I don't know where a trade back would make sense for them, and especially going back to sort of the start of this conversation, they're on the hot seat. Like they're not looking to worry about getting picks for 2026. Like I think in their position, if they're not going to take the quarterback at 3, they're going to take the guy that gives them the best chance to win games. And again, I think it's just too much of a drop off for them to get cute and say, well, let's trade back and miss out on one of those guys.
Yeah, that would be that would be interesting. I mean, I wonder how your media contingent would react if they did that. And it'd probably be a lot of that. What are you getting cute for?
Yeah.
What do you
Well, they just need they need good players. I mean, it's a bad roster. I mean, obviously the Patriots are in the same boat. So I understand the idea of like building up assets, but where they are, they're in year 4. Again, maybe the Patriots were, Vrabel's in year 1. They may be able to take the long view. I just don't think the Giants are in that position where it's like, if you have a chance to get a guy who everyone says, whether it's Hunter or Carter, is like, it can't miss prospect. Now we all know that can, be wrong, but in the moment that no one will pan them. Oh, I can't believe they took Abdul Carter. I just don't see them, like, again, to use the phrase we've used here a few times, too cute, because like just take the guy. You figure he's going to help you the most, and trading back, you kind of open yourself up to a lot more variables that I don't think they want to entertain.
All right, you've covered this team. You grew up here. I'm sure you have at least a passing knowledge of what in God's name's going on here, and all the prospects in the top 10. Just because you got to do it, and we got nothing but time to pay attention to all these guys. I continue to make the case that the Patriots should draft Tyler Warren because they can get a tackle someplace else. There's not a good enough wide receiver if Hunter and Carter are gone. This can be your pass catcher that you marry up for 8 years with Drake May. He can impact the entire rest of the offense. You can get one of those, Noel or Noel later on. Jack Betch. You can get somebody who's really good later on. You can also go ahead and take a tackle later in the first round if you want to. Am I an ass? I mean, in that regard.
You specify to that question. No, I mean, I think that's
a thought.
An interesting thought. Because look at it this way, like tight end is one of these positions that gets so devalued, and then you saw a guy like Brock Bowers, who it's like, you look back, how the hell did what did he go, like 12th, 14, whatever it was?
Yeah.
How the hell did he slide? And obviously he had, an all-world rookie season. So if you're saying Tyler Warren could have that type of impact, sure, I would do that. I don't know how creative they're willing to get up there because you talk about how the media would react. I think, oh, like the Penn State tight end at 4 over a tackle, which seems like such a screaming need for them. They would open themselves up to some scrutiny. But I do understand what you're saying because I think a wide receiver at 4 would be forcing it. So it's another way again, like Brock Bowers. I don't care what position he plays; he's the number 1 receiver in the NFL. If you feel like Warren is that type of prospect, then I think that's an inspired choice there.
And it's more like the best player available stuff that we're hearing all the time. The best players available with no flies on them after you get past those first 2 guys could be Ashton Genty and Tyler Warren. I mean, Campbell's got short arms and an unbelievable player, and I believe that he'll walk in and it'd be a surprise to me if he's not a Pro Bowl level player. But for what you need, you can get another guy later, and you can get a guy who can dynamically fit. I don't know. I'm just pitching everybody. I'm stopping people on the street. Hey, what do you think about Tyler Warren at 4?
Well, I mean, but I'll be honest. You say I probably pay attention, but like I'm so like it's the beauty of covering a team as bad as the Giants are right now. I only have to worry about the first 3 picks, and it's so ride. And as we start to have this discussion, it's talking me out of any idea of trading back because it's like, ooh, like it does get a little messy there. Like there's no like, oh, well, let's just take the next guy. Like there isn't just an obvious next guy because you say Ashton Genty. Like I mean, that would make everyone's head explode after the whole Saquon. The arc that was, then they go take a running back in the top 5, top 10, wherever they trade back to. But no, so yeah, I can't sit here and say I've broken down the tape on Tyler Warren. Obviously, I'm familiar with him.
100%.
I'm in a fortuitous situation where my team I cover, it's a very small group of players I need to concern myself with, and that's why again the trading back scenario I kind of break out on hives thinking about like, oh my gosh, like I have to be covering like Tyler Warren or Will Campbell.
I know nothing. I know nothing about Armand Membu.
Exactly.
All right, Dan Duggan. Really appreciate you. Always enjoy talking to you. Quincy's own, correct?
Correct.
I knew that. You still playing any hoop or no? You got kids flying around. You got no chance.
They're getting a little older, so I'm trying to get back into it, so I'm getting there.
All right. Just casual. Don't get, and make sure, don't stretch before you play. I'm serious. You start playing slowly. The whole stretching thing is overrated. The playing slowly is the stretch. People show up and they start pulling at their friggin' muscles after sitting at a desk all day. That's how you tear things. Just jog and play slow.
Good to know. I don't get too high off the ground anyway. It's not going to worry too much.
You know what's funny though is, okay, I'm going to bore everybody out there. You can fast forward to the other stuff if you want to. And I'm at an advanced stage. Probably around 40, you really start when you're inside, and you're taller than me. But when you're inside, you're like, I don't want to get hit. I don't want to get hit. I don't want to get hit. It's like
3-point line to 3-point line for me these days.
I get touched. I'm like, you can't do that. Dan Duggan from The Athletic. Enjoy the next week. Hopefully the Giants pee all over themselves.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, that's your guy, Dan Duggan. He's terrific. I don't know if that's good news there, though. They can't, as my mother used to say, shit on the eggs. Don't shit on the eggs. They're going to end up taking one of those 2 guys. And then you're still going to get a good player, New England Patriots fan. Patriots fan, you are still going to get a Will Campbell who can play, a Tyler Warren who can play, and Armand Membu. It's a bigger projection for me, right? Tackle to left tackle. Jalen Walker who can play. Mason Graham who can play. They need 5 guys out of this draft. I'm not even friggin' lying. 11, I did it the other day on Quick Slants. I think I might have done it on the pod too. 11 of their last 48 picks are still with the team. And they are of various levels of usefulness. It was more than 11, actually, because like Booty and Barringer are still on the team and Javon Baker. But I came up with 11 guys who are still on the team and are average to good. One guy's really good, Gonzalez. Keon White could be really good. Drake May should be really good. Other than that, you get your Duggars and your Jennings and your Onwenus and, nice players. Eminently replaceable if you can upgrade them. I think the Patriots need to go into the draft saying we could upgrade everywhere. Everywhere. So we're beating the crap out of this draft as we knew we would. Do you guys think that it's more interesting that they're picking fourth than if they were picking first. I mean, Hay would be in the barn right now, just talking about would they trade down, I guess. But if they were picking first, would they take Travis Hunter? Or would they take Abdul Carter? Or would they take Tyler Warren? Okay. As I mentioned, we have a cavalcade, a parade of Patriots media who are going to step to the mic and tell you what the Patriots will do and what they should do next week when the first round of the NFL draft arrives. Here they come. All right, ladies and gentlemen, more draft content. We're going to get you ready for the draft by asking an assortment of Patriots media members, quite simply, what will the Patriots do at number 4? What should they do at number 4? Here they come. All right, in comes independent football contractor Mike Giardi. Michael, what will the Patriots do at number 4? Then what should they do?
What they will do is draft Will Campbell. We've debated this for a million years. You and I have yelled at each other. I've yelled at Phil. It's been a lot of yelling. I think that's what's going to happen. What I would do is Jalen Walker. I think he has star potential. You have to have a plan for him because he's not super long and he's sort of a tweener, but I think he's a tweener in a good way. I could see him dancing over the center and the guard and causing havoc that way, but then you shift him to the edge and just let him go. I think you saw it at Georgia. He's a terrific player, a lot of explosiveness to his game, like Jalen Walker.
Will they regret not taking your advice? Keep it quick.
Of course.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mark Daniels from Mass Live, late of the Providence Journal, which I also was at. What will the Patriots do at number 4? What should they do, Handsome?
Well, they will draft left tackle Will Campbell from LSU because it's their biggest need. They don't have a left tackle and they need to protect Drake May. What should they do? Considering they lack elite talent and blue chip prospects, they should select the best player available, whether that's Mason Graham, Jalen Walker, or even Ashton Gentry, which is more controversial. But they should draft the best player available. I think they'll go with the tackle.
Funny he doesn't say Tyler Warren because that is the best player available.
Fair. I like Tyler Warren. Actually, I would subscribe to that. If he's Rob Gronkowski, sign me up. I've heard. What's it? Shockey comment. Shockey.
Thinks he wants to be Kittle, Gronk. I mean, but what the hell? If Will Campbell is Matt Light, though, fine.
If Will Campbell is a quality starting left tackle, that's fine because the Patriots haven't had one since 2021.
Ladies and gentlemen, old balls in the hizzy. It's Jerry Thornton from Barstool Sports, my friend. What will the Patriots do at number 4? What should they do?
In years past, at this point, I would have said, they're going to drop down and then they're going to take a D2 guard that no one's ever heard of. I like to think they're going to go chalk. That this year, it's no surprises. It's going to be Hunter or Carter if they're available, which they won't be. Therefore, nothing crazy, nothing fancy. Will Campbell. Left tackle, solve that problem that has existed from the moment they let Nate Solder walk and finally be done with this. And next year, we're not chasing another left tackle.
What should they do, though?
I think that as well. Listen, if all of a sudden they go sideways and they get Tyler Warren, which I know you're a big fan of, that would be dramatic, that would be exciting. You're still going to leave a Marianas Trench-sized hole on the left side of your line with the most important set of knees in the world to me right now, which are Drake May's in the balance. So, yeah, I'm as excited about the idea of a five-tool tight end as anybody. I just want someone who can block at left tackle. Then we'll figure it out from there.
I've been there for a long time. I don't know why I've wavered, but I have because I think you can still get a left tackle later on. Josh Simmons, OSU, Josh Connolly from Oregon. I'll also add this. Marianas Trench is one of my favorite natural wonders. Do you know, Jerry, I bet you do, that you can fit Mount Everest in the Marianas Trench?
Yeah, and if
you didn't know that,
I did. And if the Patriots don't come away with a decent draft, I just want the world to blow up, and the Everest will literally be in the Marianas Trench, and finally I'll be done with suffering through another 4-13 season.
Feels like hyperbole. Look at this donkey. It's Alex Barth from 98.5. One of my favorites. He has always got great content on the radio, extremely underrated. Handsome, what will the Patriots do at number 4 overall? What should they do?
Well, it's going to come down to those first 3 picks, right? In that 3rd pick, I think if Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter falls, that's the pick that would be the pick that should be the pick. It gets a little more complicated afterwards. I'd like to see them take Will Campbell. Tom, I've covered this team for 7 off seasons. I've never covered an off season where they didn't need a starting left tackle. Getting that box checked, especially with Drake May needing blindside protection now, I think that that's just in a weaker class. If you can get somebody that fills a premium position, it's a no-brainer. I do wonder, though, if they would lean to try to find that finishing piece on the defense, a guy like Jalen Walker, who we've heard a lot about, who they can plug and play and use as a chess piece and move around.
Should their first instinct be to trade down and then make the pick?
If the offer's there, yes, but I don't think you move down just to move down. I don't think you sell the pick for less than it's worth just to say, well, we don't love any of these players, so we're more comfortable taking it 9 than 4. You got to remember, 5 players are going to go off the board there. So if there's 3 alike, what is it worth to potentially miss on all 3 of those guys? Is just a 2nd-round pick worth it? Is a 2nd and 3rd-round pick worth it? That's what they're going to have to ask themselves and figure out leading up to draft night.
Next up, the inimitable, the indefatigable, the great and brilliant Mike Reese, friend of mine for approaching 30 years. Hi, guy.
Awesome. Great to be with you.
What will the Patriots do at number 4? What should they do, my friend?
They will listen to trade offers. Will there be any, Tom? I don't think so. Most likely not. So they'll listen, and then they'll flip a coin between Will Campbell, offensive lineman, tackle, guard.
He's going to be a tackle until proven otherwise.
And Jalen Walker, defender, Georgia. I think those are the 2 guys to me that it comes down to. I have my coin if you want me to flip it.
Flip it.
What are we looking at? So heads, Will Campbell.
Heads, Will Campbell. Tails, Jalen Walker.
Let's flip it. Oh!
It didn't spin at all. He threw a Wakefield knuckleball.
Do it again. Do it again. That good?
Okay,
Good?
fine. Yep.
Flip it over.
Yeah, you have to flip it.
Tails. We went Jalen Walker.
And there's quarter on the floor. You know what's interesting about Campbell, Tyler Warren, Ginty, and Jalen Walker?
Yeah.
Every interview I've seen, every single one of them is so polished, so team-oriented, such layups for what I think they're trying to establish.
And the Jalen Walker, to me, I understand. Family, coaching, reminded me almost of Vrabel, right? Like how he grew up, dad, coach, leadership, intangibles. Vrabel talks about premium position, get to the passer, right? He can do it. So that's why he's, to me, it's between him or Campbell.
Yeah, I find it really interesting. What should they do, though?
Oh, man, if they could trade, Tom, I think that would be great. But I know that's probably not part of the scenario.
No, it's yours. It's all you.
I feel like it's such a hard question because do they view Campbell as a tackle? If they view Campbell as a tackle, it's Campbell. I know.
I'm not down on him. I just continue to look at the possibility of getting a tackle later on, invest in it, but take the best player available. And regardless of position, I think it's Tyler Warren.
I know you like Warren. What about premium position though? If you talk about Walker, we're talking about pass rusher. Like I think.
Well, I think there's a misconception that tight end isn't a premium position because other teams haven't dictated that it is. Yeah. You're starting to become a premium position. I think it becomes even more so because wide receivers are so over the top. If you don't have one, you have to have somebody to catch passes.
Very fair.
So to me, he can be a Bowers. He can be a McBride. He can be, you name it, a Kittle.
Very fair.
So that's why I like it. Nobody like him. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the legendary writer from, well, you can remember her first from the Boston Herald. Now she's at Mass Live. She's directing everything. Hi, Karen Garigian.
Hi, Tom E.
What will the Patriots do at number 4 overall? What should they do at number 4?
I believe the Patriots will draft Will Campbell, left tackle, perhaps a left guard, but they will draft Will Campbell, considered the best tackle in the draft. What they should do is draft the best player available.
Do you think that's Willie? You don't know. You're not paying you for that stuff.
Well, if Abdul Carter's there, I'm taking Abdul Carter. And I might think there's a few others who could be more impactful or better, like Mason Graham, for example. perhaps.
I see, that's the thing. And Reese was just in here, and he said Jalen Walker, and same thing with Mason Graham. It would be almost criminal to spend the entire offseason not addressing anything on offense, then go into the draft and with a 4th overall pick, take another defensive player.
Right, but they have...
Criminal is strong.
They have... if it was me, and again, just me, and
it has
not
to
them,
be you. This is you. It's not them. It's you.
I would use the extra picks they get in the 3rd round or whatever from the second, move up in the 1st round, and then grab a tackle there. So you're getting the premium player, which you really should get at number 4, and you're taking care of that glaring need by moving back up into the 1st.
She's done it again. Karen Garigian, Speaking Sense. Chris Mason, Mass Live. You've been doing this for a long time. You get a good sense of what's going on. What will the Patriots do at number 4 overall? What should they do, Chris?
If Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter falls to number 4, they should and they will take one of those 2 guys. I don't think that's going to happen, though. So I think ultimately they will take Will Campbell there. I think they should trade back and take Tyler Warren, though.
No way!
Yes, sir.
My guy. Explain yourself.
I think they could use more help on offense. I think they could use more impact. And I think at number 4, they're reaching it for anyone there. I think that Campbell, you don't know if he's going to be a tackle or a guard. I think there's a lot of risk there. I think you trade down at number 9 or so. I think Warren will be the best player on the board there. So
and I think that you want to make everything about Drake. You wanted to make it a nice, soft, little, comfortable nest for him. You wanted to clear the decks in the quarterback room. You want to make sure that he's well taken care of with the coaching. What better gift to give a young man than a tight end? You might say left tackle, but I'm with you. Give him the tight end like Bledsoe had Coates, like Brady had Gronk. I mean, like Brady. Who do you have at the beginning? Eric Bjornsson? Anyway, enough of that. Good stuff, Chris. I'm with you. All right, thanks so much. Obviously, next week, draft week, we will be all over it on the Patriots Talk podcast, on Quick Slants. Phil's Next Pats podcast will be loaded to the gills. We have a really interesting breakdown of all the wideouts that the Patriots could conceivably target, about 7 different guys. We sat down with Brian Hoyer, former Patriots quarterback who has played extensively for Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator, and he gives his perspective on which guys are the best guys. There's some eye-opening news and analysis from Brian Hoyer, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Have a great weekend. Gonna be nice. Happy Easter.